looks like you have about a 56% profit margin. Let's start off with how many miles you run in a particular week. How many miles would you say is average?
So right now I'll go off of last week. Last week I had a pretty good week. I drove about 1,200 miles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that pretty typical for a cargo van business, do you think?
It depends. So for me, I run more of like regional. So I stay in the Southeast region. So the farthest I've been is Oklahoma City. Other than that, I'm pretty much up the East Coast, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina. The farthest I've been up north is Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah.
That's a trek. Where are you based? In Atlanta?
I'm based right outside of Atlanta.
Yeah.
In McDonough, Georgia. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Atlanta to Green Bay. That's no joke. That's cross country. Nice. So how many days did you work in that week?
I worked Monday through Friday. So I was fortunate to have a load every day last week, which is the first time that I've done that.
Nice.
Normally, I don't get many loads on Fridays, but I was fortunate to get a load pretty much every day last week.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And how much did you bring in for running those 1,200 miles?
And 1,400.
All right.
Right.
Let's get into the trickier stuff, which is the cost of doing that. So we've brought in our total revenue is 1,400. We've worked 5 days and the total miles that we've run is 1,200. Let's talk about truck payment, or in this case, cargo van payment. When did you get your cargo van and how much did it cost? And are you still paying that?
Okay. I got my cargo van. The crazy thing is I signed for it on February the 29th last year. So leap year.
Okay.
2024. I paid right around right around 30,000 for my van. It's a 2017. It's used. When I purchased it, it had right around 104,000 miles on it.
Got it. And did you take out a loan to pay for that? Did you pay for it in cash?
No, I paid a down payment. My monthly bill is $715. So $715.
So we're looking at about $180 a week. If we spread that out weekly, obviously the payment is going to be monthly, but that's about 15 cents per mile. You don't have a trailer, obviously, because you run a cargo van. What about insurance? What does insurance look like for a cargo?
My insurance is around $950 right now.
Per month?
Per month, yes.
All right. And what does that cover? What kind of insurance do you have to have for a cargo van?
$1 million policy, 100,000 cargo.
Okay. And then how much do you usually pay for fuel? Do you have an idea of that?
Fuel, I would say it depends. Because right now with fuel is about anywhere from $2.79 to $3 for me right now. Roughly anywhere from $60 to $70 for a full tank.
For a fill.
Yeah.
So if we take the middle of that, you said $2.79 to $3, we'll take $2.90.
Yeah, we'll do $2.90.
So that's about $174.
Yep.
And then how about tolls? You said that you hit up the Northeast.
Yes.
Or the Atlantic coast. So I know that the tolls around there can be pretty high, but for a cargo van, what do those tolls look like?
So for the Wisconsin trip, even though that won't be included in last week, because last week I didn't have any. So that 1,400, I didn't have any tolls for that.
Nice. So what about maintenance? What do you have to do every month, quarter?
Maintenance is more so right now is just oil change, just making sure my oil change is good. And for the most part, that's my maintenance is oil change right now.
And how often do you have to get oil changed and how much does that cost?
I do every 5,000 miles. I also learned after the 5,000 miles, to check my own oil. At times I can go a little longer before I get another oil change. Okay. But right around that 5,000 to 6,000 miles.
So probably like once a month?
Once a month.
Maybe every 6 weeks, depending on how long you've
running, yeah. Yes.
How much does it cost, or do you do your own oil changes?
My oil change costs $75.
Okay. It's pretty manageable if we take 75. Let's say we take 75 divided by 4 weeks, 19 bucks. Do you save anything additionally for maintenance? Like a rainy day fund where you might need
At times I do.
Okay.
Sometimes I do when I do have a chance to, but some weeks aren't as good as others.
Sure.
So sometimes I may put money to the side depending on how much I make that week.
Got it. Looks like you have about a 56% profit margin. So for last week, you worked 5 days. The profit per day was about $158. Your cost per mile looks like about 50 cents. And your rate per mile is 117. So that's breaking down all of these costs. Obviously, this is all estimate, back of the napkin, what you can remember. These might not be really precise calculations here, but is there anything in here when looking at these numbers, is there anything here that like surprises you? How often do you do this kind of calculation for your business?
I have worked with Trucker Pocket.
Nice.
And it's very similar to this. To be able to make it a year was a big milestone for me. So definitely. I'm excited about more. And yeah.
Congratulations on that first year.
Thank you.
Your authority aged, that's going to be another milestone, right? And then you'll be able to book your own loads and start really creating more relationships with your customers. Thank you so much again. Thank you for your transparency. There are so many people that on this platform and many platforms that talk about how much money they're making, but they don't always talk about the cost of how much it costs to actually run that operation. So appreciate your transparency and your time. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's
No problem. No problem at all. Thank you all for having me.
All right. Drive safe, everybody.